everyone. This is Instructor Pool, and I want to show you how to find and access the SIRS Issues Researcher database, which we will be using for this week's assignment and also heavily in Unit 1. So I'm logged into my CCTC here. On the left-hand side of the screen, I'm going to click on the Library tab, and that will bring me here. There's a lot of good research resources here in the library tab, so I encourage you to take some time to explore here. But today we're going to click on the databases A to Z link, and this will take us to an alphabetical listing of the research databases that our library subscribes to. We'll be using a handful of these over the course of the semester. But today we're primarily interested in the SIRS database, so I'm going to click on S. And from there, I'll click on the name of the database itself. It is the SIRS Issues Researcher. We're going to be using the topic of artificial intelligence to practice research skills in Unit 1. So I'm going to click on the artificial intelligence link here, and this is going to take us to the leading issue page for this topic. There are a few hundred leading issues that SIRS has identified, and they're all laid out in much the same manner. The first thing you're going to see is a summary. This is usually a very uh, general, sort of background information oriented summary of the topic. It's a good sort of first stop place to educate yourself and do some informal research on a topic that you're interested in researching. As we scroll down the screen, the next thing that we will see is a question. These tend to be like the one that you see here, pretty vague, pretty general research questions, but they serve the purpose of giving us two different viewpoints. SIRS sort of peddles in pro-con arguments or different ways of seeing an issue. So this one, the research question here is, do the benefits of artificial intelligence outweigh the risks? One way of looking at that, viewpoint one, is that yes, artificial intelligence has the potential to improve society. This is a fairly positive view of the technology. Another school of thought might hold that no, artificial intelligence poses too many risks that could worsen over time. So those are two different ways of answering that question, or two different ways of seeing the topic. Underneath each one of those, you're going to see three links. These are links to viewpoints or articles, sources that back up that way of looking at the topic. This one, for instance, is an article about AI applications in healthcare, and notes that this is sort of a game-changing moment. So this is a fairly positive view of artificial intelligence technology, a source that supports that view of it. Now, if we decided that we wanted to use this article as a source for our research, there are several different ways that we can retrieve it. In the Use This Document square at the top of the screen, you'll see some options. You can email it to yourself. If you're like me and you like to have a hard copy of something that you're going to work with and draw from, you can print it. And you can also save it to the cloud. I encourage you to use the Microsoft OneDrive account that you have as a student here at Central Carolina. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in the semester. So it would be a good idea to go ahead and get familiar with that. Another good thing about the SIRS database is that it makes it easy to cite our sources. If you click the Cite button, it will generate a full citation for you. You just need to make sure that you tell it what format style you're working with. We're in MLA style, and you can cut and paste um, citations directly from the document. Now, those are not by far not the only articles about artificial intelligence on this topic here in the database. You can find more of them by clicking on Find More. And here you can also sort your findings by the source type. Later in the semester, we'll talk about scholarly journals and we'll be looking for those specifically. So if you knew that you needed to have scholarly sources, you can filter it for those types of sources. You can also use the search database much like you would any search engine. Play around with the advanced features, the advanced search features. That's something we'll talk about later in the semester as well. But you can play around with those if you're looking for very specific types of information. As we scroll down the page, we'll see a set of critical questions. These are designed to get you thinking about the topic. This is important because in one of our two assignments this week, the first impressions assignment, I've asked you to engage with those questions. So these are the critical questions that you'll be engaging with for that assignment. And finally, at the bottom of the page, there's always a timeline. This one goes all the way back to 1760, which seems pretty early for me for artificial intelligence, but they've identified the Industrial Revolution as the first time that we started to make machines for the purpose of automating tasks that human beings usually accomplish. These are generally pretty current. This one goes all the way up until just a couple of months ago with the entry from June 4th. And along the way, you'll see that there are all sorts of developments related to the topic. These are new developments like new inventions, laws that are being passed, things like that that are relevant to the topic. So that's a really quick overview of the SIRS issues researcher. Take a look at the two assignments for this week, the first impressions assignment and the audience purpose and context assignment, both of which ask you to engage with the SIRS issues researcher. And please let me know, as always, if you have any questions.